Time for some Friday basketball here with Erik from eTop21 Sports. I'm Gino. You can find me. It's me, Gino B, on social media. Erik, as we get ready to talk about two NBA games for today, big upset yesterday, though. If we just go back in time a little bit, you sent in a video. We weren't able to connect on a time, but you sent in a video with your plays. You had a fantastic day. One of those plays was the Cavs. We're seeing this Boston team now. They're really talented. But this particular group, and I think with the coach, they have some weaknesses, and we see they're not disciplined. They are sloppy. The way that they play, in particular, a lot of times they're beatable. And when they play more talented teams, they're going to lose games, and we saw that with this Cleveland game yesterday. And honestly, when I'm looking at a lot of the other teams around that are just talented and able to punch, the more you see Boston in these difficult situations, the more I'm like disappointed with them.
This is just what they do. One of my key stats were after they win favored by 10 and win by more than 10 in the next game, favored by 10, they
lay an egg
back down. And This has been going at it since the COVID year. This is just what they are. Are they talented? Yeah. But this is just who they are. And I really think games like last night showed why they miss Marcus Smart.
Yeah, just some intensity here and there. We had a question that came up, said, Gino, I want to ask you what moves you think the Lakers make mainly at the point guard position and what coach? So that's a good question. For me, you just have to be careful about what moves you make because the Lakers will have some flexibility. Just found out that D'Angelo is going to exercise an option. That doesn't mean D'Angelo won't come back. That means he's going to be looking for more than just a one-year deal. So they'll either have him come back in a deal where they'll have him for a few years. But for, I think, a lot of people, they would like to try something else because we've done that with D'Lo. He's had some ups and downs. He had a great season, but some other playoff weaknesses. So I think, Erik, you just have to be careful. You pointed out Murray you thought was a fit. I'm not sure if he's the guy, but for the Lakers, they don't have a lot of moves to make, but they do have enough wiggle room now to make one or two big ones. And you just got to make sure that those are the right ones. You know, you look around right now, a guy who I think would be a nice fit, someone like this, a younger kind of star. Obviously, like Mitchell is performing very well right now. I want someone that maybe a little bit more two-way than Donovan Mitchell, someone who can just at least not be awful on the defensive side. So is there anyone for you that came to mind, that would come to mind as like someone you think could pair well with maybe the last year or two of LeBron and then be someone that would be good with AD moving forward after LeBron?
We talked about this with Bryce on my show this past week, Bryce from the IDNet Sports Pod. Tyrus Jones from Washington is a free agent. He'd be an interesting pickup. I think that would be a good guy that you come in. He just kind of wants to start. What he will do is like he'll
steady things, and then you can get another star, right? He will be a guy that's like a steadying presence, and you will still have a lot of wiggle room to go get probably another nice piece or two. He wouldn't be your only move, but what's nice about that is it takes the ball out of LeBron's hand, and it's sort of a presence that can steady things a little bit. Like they're not far off. That's the thing. It feels like because they lost in the first round and they got beat by Denver, but they're not that far off if you can get the same contributions you got, especially from Anthony Davis. Coaching wise, Bud went to Phoenix. I don't want JJ Redick. I'll tell you that much. Don't think that one's not like I would actually be fine with JJ Redick as an assistant coach coming in with a proven head coach. And JJ could be like someone that helps maybe run your offense, someone that talks with the guys that like can be the guy to learn. Because I don't think JJ really even thinks he's ready for a head coaching job or this situation here. Would anyone that you think, Erik? And then we'll get into games. And if you guys have any questions about the games or anything you want to talk about, feel free. We'll respond to those. But after this, we'll start talking about our plays for tonight.
I kind of liked Lee, the assistant coach.
Me too.
He would have been a good guy.
Yep, he was good. The one that's been getting a little bit of buzz too. You've been seeing him out there a little bit more. The assistant coach from the Timberwolves. He's pretty good too, right? He's someone that's like not like a real sexy out there splash, but when you hear him talk, he does some really good segments on social media. And for just like listening to him talk, you could tell pretty quickly the guy knows what he's talking about. And just like He's someone, they don't need to be splashy, but you do probably want someone that has a little experience too. It's not going to be an easy job with LeBron and AD coming in.
I actually had a blog post that came up earlier in the week after the Darvin Ham news that was released. Adelman from the Denver Nuggets. I think that would be somebody that you could use. That old man was a coach, getting rave reviews from Malone. I think that's a guy that could take the next step up. If you want to go completely off the radar, and I'm spacing on his name, UConn's assistant coach under Hurley, he's pretty much responsible for all their offensive sets. So someone like that, I don't know if LeBron would really work with them. I guess that my question to you is, how do you feel that they're going to draft Bronny, it looks like?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. Honestly, Bronny's not ready right now. The thing is, physically, I don't think enough people have kind of given Bronny sort of the mulligan, remembering that the kid had a real serious heart issue last year. Like, that's sort of the thing that I don't think gets talked to. Like, did he have a great year in college? No, but I feel like that had a lot to do with it. Bronny will be a good player. Like, he'll still be a guy that can be in the NBA. I don't know how good. He's not LeBron. So anyone that looks at Bronny and thinks he's going to be like LeBron, he's not. He's a 3-and-D type of player. I would have no problem if they drafted Bronny at like the end of the first round or like a second round pick. It really wouldn't bother me at all if you're getting LeBron coming back and that kind of stuff. Really, like, you pay for that for LeBron, and having LeBron around is fine. Like, LeBron's still contributing at a high level. LeBron was someone who I think the Lakers want to be thankful to, because LeBron was the guy that kind of brought the Lakers back after the 5 or 6 years where they were really bad, Eric. They were not at all relevant whatsoever. And so I do think, like we saw the Lakers do with Kobe at the end of their career, they will probably try to overpay a little bit and treat LeBron very well and do everything he asks, because they like to do that with their stars and hope that that is something that gets kind of passed down and that other stars of the future will know. So sometimes that'll impact a little bit on the court. It's kind of like an organizational thing that you do, but we'll see. That's one of those things that doesn't bother me as a fan. We'll see how much LeBron may suffer as he gets a little bit older. But Eric, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the Lakers and the Clippers and all these teams and the Bucks, right? And these really intriguing teams, the Suns, what kind of moves they're going to make, the Warriors, a lot of the Sixers, all of these teams could have a lot of crazy movement tonight.
Hey, I'm rocking my Motor City shirt right now. One of the big rumors is Booker coming back home to Michigan.
There you go. Right.
Him and Cade. I think that would be phenomenal. Immediately put the Pistons in the playoff conversation. But, we can jump into that later in the summer. I think Bud's a great coach. What Bud's going to do for Bud's a great players coach. He's not going to, how can I word this? Make players do what they don't want to do. I kind of feel that Frank Vogel's getting the raw end of the deal. If you kind of look at it, he was there for the defense. He got them to top 16 defensively. Mm-hmm. And when you kind of look at that unit, for them to be that high with bad
what they had, with their talent.
That says a lot. The Young, who took the job at BYU, he was in charge of their offense. And their offense was the one that kind of struggled. KD was throwing him under the bus without throwing him under the bus, saying he didn't like to stand in the corner.
Because he's not an offensive guy. That's the thing I'll say. And I like Vogel a lot. I think he's a very good coach. I wish the Lakers would have never gotten rid of him. But he's and like you said, if you have some of your stars that buy in defensively and you see what he's able to do for your team defensively, that's where the Lakers were lucky. From the very beginning, LeBron and AD bought in to Vogel right off the bat. They set the tone. And then the rest of the team, that team that won the title was a fantastic defensive team. They would lock you up. They had Caruso out there too, like to defend the perimeter. They had KCP. So think about that. That team would be able to throw out lineups where they had like AD, Dwight, LeBron, Caruso, KCP, just like really big, long, like crazy defensive lineups. And that was fitting to what Frank Vogel wanted to do. This team wasn't built quite the way that he wanted, and he still got them to play pretty good defense. But like you said, for those guys like Durant and them, they'll be in better spots and maybe they'll rotate better or they'll have like slightly better defensive numbers, but they want their games to be enhanced on the offensive side. And when that's not happening, they're going to get frustrated. And now, like, Durant, man, like, what do you do if you're him? You moved. You went to go to Kyrie. You left the Warriors. You didn't want to be there because you didn't feel like it was your team anymore. Then you went to Brooklyn, and you got paired up with Kyrie and Harden, which didn't work out. Then you go back to the Suns. It just feels like there aren't many other opportunities or options around for KD, especially with how much he's making, and he's getting a little bit older and older. But tonight, Erik, let's talk about tonight. 2 games and game 3s. Huge game 3s, completely different series, though, in that the first one, nothing strange has happened because we've had the home team win the first 2 games. So tonight's a huge game for Indy. They're a 7-point favorite at home, trying to win game 3 to make this a series. They've had tight games 1 and 2, that they probably feel like they could have won, a couple plays here and there. But now you win this game with the way the Knicks are banged up. They lost Anunoby. Brunson, do we know game time decision for him?
Game time decision. The line is clicked down to 6.5. So I think it's kind
some
of
Brunson money.
He's going to be
given it a try. And we saw so for them now, we already knew Randall was out, Anunoby out, Robinson out, and between Brunson and Hart, those guys have been really banged up.
I mean, if you look at it and who's out, just who's banged up from the Knicks, that's a playoff team.
That's whole team. That's a whole starting lineup.
I mean, for me, I look at this game, I expect the Pacers to get off to a hot start. When you just kind of look at what they have done, home games versus away games in the playoff, home games, 35 points they've averaged in the first quarter, away games, 28. So I really expect the place to be rocking. I think they're going to look to push the tempo early. I took them -2.5 for the first quarter. The next bet I did is I took them -5. -5 for the first half. Team down 0-2, game 3 at home, last 20 years, 65% against the number. It's just a trend bet. It used to be you take them against the spread for the full game, but books have caught up to that.
Yeah, so the lines are big enough. Yeah. I got it at same thing at 4.5 last night, and 5 is completely fine with me. What would be, because actually I've had a few people ask me this too, because sometimes you and I play things very early. So a lot of times we're watching, and as soon as games end at night, I'll put in plays right away because we'll be able to catch lines. But then sometimes people will ask me, hey, if it's moved a little bit, can you let us know how far you'll go with it? Which I think is a good thing, right? So for me, like 6, like I would be okay going up to about 6 with this, but like I didn't want to play them in the full game up to like 7.5 where it was before. But I think you're gonna get that punch in the first half really from them, and I don't mind your first quarter at like 3 and under. I think we froze there for a second, Erik. So as we, it was like right as we were setting up for the question, I think you froze for a moment. So first half for me in this game was the play for Indy, and it'll be for me for both of these games tonight, because I don't even know if Denver in the next game that we'll talk about is going to have an opportunity to, get the job done. I still think Minnesota is a really bad matchup for them, but I think you're going to get the Denver punch in, race number, or you're going to get the Denver punch a little bit later on tonight. So for Indy, again, for any of you playing, Erik will jump back in just 1 second. So let's answer a few questions while we're waiting for Erik to pop back in, so that way he can talk a little bit more about this game. And maybe this is something that Sports Facts is right on. Maybe we all did jump to a little bit of a conclusion with the Suns and say they were terrible. It's more about how you're losing, though, I think a lot of the time. And they were getting really beat up badly, and we didn't see a lot of fight. We saw bad body language. Beal looked really bad in different settings, down the stretch for them. So, Erik, this was a good question.
My internet's great. I don't know where
I set you up for the question, and you were like frozen. I was like, oh, okay, perfect.
I don't know if you guys heard, I guess like the big stat also that kind of sticks out. Pacers are plus 19 in the second quarter. So if they do get off to a slow start, this game is a little tight. entering the second quarter, you could be able to get a better number, because for the second quarter live, they have absolutely dominated. In terms of the question, what was the question?
Oh, that was asking about maybe the Suns are a little bit better, because now we're seeing that the Wolves.
You kind of look how the Wolves have kind of dominated and have made uncomfortable the
Nuggets.
The Nuggets. They obviously are a lot better, and they're just built wrong. They have 3 guys that are ISO guys that live in the mid range. You look at the way Minnesota is built. You need some defenders, some guys that can make jump shots. How much money OG Anunoby is going to make this offseason when he's free? Just what he can do. Look at Jaden McDaniel when his contract comes up, what he's able to do.
Yep.
So they definitely need to work on their construction of their team before they do anything else.
We're getting you a little bit. You're cutting out a bit and a little bit freezy here and there, but we heard most of what you said on that one there, Erik. Yeah, Bobby Thomas was saying what happened to Uncle Rico. He's back now. He's hanging out with us here. When man, having those defensive weapons like the OG, that was what someone like a Vanderbilt, who we didn't see a whole lot this year. He's not quite as gifted offensively, but he's sure someone who could impact you on the defensive side too. Having those guys, those wings, you just need a few of them on your team. Erik, any other plays or anything else you want to mention about the first game tonight before we move into game 2?
I got one more. I did Dante DiVincenzo under the 20.5. Due for some shooting regression. The last 3 games, 53% from 3, 51% from the floor. For the season, 40% from 3, 44 from the floor. Career playoff stats, 36% from 3, 40% from the floor. Look, we got it in the last game against the 76ers. We bet on his positive shooting regression. Now, after 3 good games, we're going to bet on his negative shooting regression. So we're going to take his under. I say it all the time. Gambling's about buying low, selling high. Game 1, his point total was 14.5. Game 2, 17.5. Now it's all the way up to 20.5. So we got to take under 20.5 points for Dante DiVincenzo.
Game 2 of our 2-game slate tonight will actually be the 3rd game in the series between Denver and the T-Wolves. And the T-Wolves have looked like the best team in the playoffs so far. They've been fantastic. It starts on the defensive side, where they've been suffocating. They have some length. They have a couple of bigs that they can throw at you. They have a couple of wings that they can throw at you. And then they have a guy like Ant who will take over a game on the offensive side, but he also takes things personally on the other side and wants to at least shut down some of the big stars for little stretches of the game. I'm going to play Denver first half here, Erik, because I think this is just it for Denver. But the reason why I'm not even going to play the full game is this might be one of those situations where this is just a bad matchup for a team who's coming off of winning last year, who's not quite as hungry as this younger, more athletic team that's just in a great mode right now. Like, they just are in sort of like FU mode led by Ant. So I'm going to play Denver first half. I played them plus 2.5. I'm not even going to play them full game or anything else, because I don't know if over a full game right now they have enough. I do think you're going to get that big punch from them early on. So Denver first half for me, I got them plus the 2.5. Talk to us about some of the things you're looking at in this game tonight.
My first bet in this game, I went to my boy. Give me Alexander Walker over 10.5 points, rebounds, assists, averaging 29.5 minutes in the playoffs. His PRA average in the playoffs is 17. Because of his defensive abilities, he's going to be playing more and more and more. He's going to get over 30 minutes tonight. His PRA for the series is 13.5. It's only 10.5. I'm going to hop in on that. And I sorry to be in the chat, but you know what? I took the Nuggets plus 4.5, plus 160 on the money night. Look, I know every single trend I looked at in Bet Labs is telling me to take the Timberwolves, and maybe I'm going to be drinking bleach at the end of the day. But if Joker truly is the best player in the league, and he has this history of starting slow then figuring it out, and I'm betting on that. I'm betting that he's going to be able to figure out this Wolves defense. Also, I'm betting that Malone's going to play Murray off the ball more, thus not having the pressure of setting up the offense, try to get him off some screens, try to make.
So is that like Porter Jr. maybe? Because Porter Jr. is a little bit bigger, has a little more size. He can handle the ball.
Porter Jr. plays the one, or maybe go two guards. Maybe bring in but Holiday. Maybe have Holiday play a little bit more because
a little more size there too.
KCP
and KCP's not really a ball handler. Yeah, he doesn't really. You don't really want him making decisions. KCP. He's more like a he's more like a catch and shoot guy. He gets a little bit like kind of frozen in that kind of situation. But yeah, Porter Jr. with his size, feel like they won't be able to kind of shut him down as much because Murray's obviously a little hobbled right now too. So if they have bigger guards on you and you don't have your explosiveness, your same quickness there, that's where he's really struggled. It is just one of these things where I'm not quite ready to say that Denver's done yet. That's all, right? I think they do have that. If we do feel like there's one left, like one big pop back left, and it's got to be right now because you're not going down 3-0 and coming back. We're just not seeing that. But if you win this game at home for them, you start to get in their head a little bit, especially if you feel like you figured something out that made it a little bit easier for you offensively. And then we have a series. Even if you go down 3-1, you can still go back home, make it 3-2, and you still have that experience. But this is really it for Denver. As Erik, I know you're dealing with some weather and a big storm over there.
But one more thing, Nuggets are due for some positive shooting regression for the series. 41% from the floor, season 49%. Also 3-point for the playoff, 38 for the season. So they're going to have some positive shooting regression. It's also and I believe in Joker. I can't go 1, 2, 3 quite yet.
Folks, remember, all of you out there, if you're hanging out with us, if you're looking to get some action tonight, check out parlayplay.io. It's a website where you can parlay props. You can put a couple of them together, and you can play in a lot of states where you're not able to actually gamble legally yet because you're parlaying props here. Erik, our promo code, NFL Betting Blitz. This is a fun place to play, and you've been lucky because the last couple times that you've said you may be drinking bleach, you haven't had to drink the bleach. So I haven't had to call you later. I haven't had to call you late at night and check on you and make sure you're doing okay. So I think the last 2 times you said if you were going to do that, you haven't had to. Let's hope 3 in a row tonight that you won't have to do it again. Parlay play props though. Talk to us about how you're going to hook them up tonight.
I did Alexander Walker over the 10.5 points, rebounds, and assists, and Dante DiVincenzo under the 20.5 points. I just think everything else, there's a lot of moving pieces in the Knicks game. They haven't really announced if Jalen Brunson is out, and the big guy, their third string center, I wanted to get some of his props, but they're not putting any of them on the market yet. So I'm kind of just zeroing in on these two. Obviously, I was tempted to play the Jamal Murray over, but with how bad he's been shooting and banged up knee and that defense from Minnesota, it's kind of tough to trust to do that.
Folks, good luck to all of you out there tonight in your plays. We'll be back tomorrow at noon Eastern time. I think we'll be live. I have to talk with Erik in a moment, or I have to check on one thing. And we'll hopefully be live as many times as we can towards like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's always fun to be able to interact with some of you out there, take some of your questions, and check in with all of you. So for Sports Facts says, come on, Erik, you're making a bunch of money over there. It's the storm. It's the storm. It's
I'm like the tornado, not the tornado, but the thunder. Like, I have sirens going off. It sounds like it's yelling outside right now.
And you know what, Erik? I feel like at the end of Rocky IV, if he could change and you could change, we all could change. When I Hate the Lakers is saying thanks, Gino, right? It's like we can all move together in this world, and we can one day. Things won't be so bad. I like that. We show some respect to each other. I hate the Lakers. Folks, Rudy checking in, likes the T-Wolves. Not a whole lot to dislike as of late. Let's Make Some Money was also checking in. We appreciate hearing from all of you out there. Good luck on your Friday plays. We'll be back to talk some Saturday NBA with you tomorrow. Erik, hope the storm is not that bad for you. Stay safe over there. Good luck, everyone. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.